So a lot of you have been asking me for another hand painting video. And yes, I'm finally doing it. So I've done a few hand painting videos before, but this is the first time we're talking about something really important, which is how to hand paint your primer. So today, I'll show you how to brush on primer properly, avoid streaks, and get your parts ready for paint the right way. Hey everyone, it's Nico and welcome back to the channel. This video is supported by all of these awesome brands that help keep the channel going. A big thanks to all of them for their continued support. And a special thanks to spraygunner.com. They've got everything you need for painting, from top-of-the-line airbrushes to high-quality paint brands. If you're looking to buy paints, tools, or airbrush gear, links are in the description below. It helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. So first, let's go over the materials you'll need. Obviously, you need your Gunpla kit that you want to paint. Then of course, your primer. Preferably an acrylic brush-on primer since that's made specifically for hand painting and it won't fight you the way airbrush primers sometimes do when applied with a brush. So you also need a paintbrush, of course, and I'll talk about sizes and tips in a bit. Then you also need a palette, preferably a wet palette so that your primer doesn't dry out while you work. And of course, a cup of water for cleaning your brush. Now let's talk about the paintbrush. Because honestly, this is the first mistake I see almost everyone make. People try to hand paint an entire Gunpla using a round brush. And that's already setting yourself up for a rough time. Since we're talking about hand painting full parts and not just tiny details, you want to use the right tool. For big open surfaces like the shield, the shoulder armor, and the legs, a wide flat brush is your best friend. Think about it, you're trying to get a smooth flat finish. So why make your life harder by using a round brush that's meant for detailing? Round brushes are great for small color separations, details, panel accents, things like that. But for large areas where every brush stroke will show, switch to a flat brush. It gives you cleaner passes, smoother coverage, and way less streaking. So to start, your parts should already be ready. Prep is the same whether you're airbrushing, hand painting, or spray painting. Clean the parts, sand them if you want, and make sure everything's dry and clean. I'm using my red grass wet palette and I'm putting down enough primer to work with. I don't thin it with water, instead I mix in a little bit of retarder. Retarder helps slow down the drying time so the primer doesn't dry on the brush or on the surface too quickly. That gives you smoother strokes, fewer visible lines, and more working time before the paint starts dragging. What I do is lightly wet my brush first. Not soaking, not dripping, just damp. And then I load the primer from the palette. And remember, keep the paint on the bristles only. Now for the actual priming, hold your brush like a pen, relax but steady. Lay the paint down in long confident strokes, following the shape of the part. Don't jab the brush, don't go in circles, just pull the brush in one direction and flip the piece if you need to, and then keep your strokes even. The goal isn't to cover everything in one pass. You want thin, smooth coats. So the first layer will naturally look patchy. Let it level out, give it a moment to settle, and then go back for a second coat. Brush-on primer likes being built up slowly. And when it comes to hand painting, I would say that you can touch a wet area again, but only in a very controlled way. If I see a spot where the paint has built up too much or the stroke looks uneven, I'll lightly glide the brush over it to even it out. Very gentle with barely any pressure. That's the only time I'll go back in while it's still wet. But once that paint starts hitting the half-dry stage, like not wet anymore but not fully dry either, that's the danger zone. If you brush over it then, you're going to drag the paint, leave streaks, or even lift off what you just applied. That's where most people get those chunky, streaky brush marks. So the rule isn't never go over wet paint. It's fix it immediately or leave it alone. If it's already starting to dry, don't touch it. Let it fully dry first. So to speed things up, I use a blow dryer on low heat and low fan. Low fan is important because high airflow can push the drying paint around and leave texture. Once the layer is fully dry to the touch, then you go in with your second coat. That's how you get a clean, even finish with minimal brush strokes. Now, the reason I don't love hand painting primer is honestly just the time it takes. Imagine having 30, 40, or even 100 parts and you have to prime every single one by hand. Not just one coat, but multiple layers. But I also get that not everyone has access to an open area to spray. Or you might be in a place where spray cans or airbrushing just aren't an option. And if you're one of those people, yeah, you just have to be patient and power through the brush on primer stage. It's not fun, but it works. And here's the thing about hand painting primer, or hand painting in general. It's never going to look as smooth as an airbrush or a spray can. I mean, you're a human with a brush. Those tools atomize the paint into a super fine mist. So of course, the finish looks flawless. With the brush, you can only do so much. The goal isn't to make it glass smooth. The goal is coverage and adhesion. What you can do is control it. Thin properly, keep your layers light, and build up multiple coats. That's how you get the cleanest result possible with hand painting. Honestly, I've been putting this video off for a while because I wasn't totally confident showing my hand painted primer. But looking at it now, I think it turned out okay. You can see the coverage is even, there's no major streaks, and it's ready for the next step. So that's it for this primer tutorial. I hope it helps anyone who's struggling or just getting started with hand painting their Gunpla. So in the next video, we'll move on to hand painting the base colors. So make sure to stay tuned for that one. And yes, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it useful and you got some tips you can actually use on your own projects. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye!